In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to perform a match and append process using the Python language, the Lightbox geocoder, and an address.csv file that contains a list of addresses. First thing we need to do is to have an address file. As you can see here, I've got a list of 18 addresses. We then need to create a Python file. We'll call that match.py. First thing I need to do is import a couple of libraries. I'm going to import the CSV library to work with my address CSV file. I'm going to import my request library to be able to make my HTTP requests. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my address.csv file, and I'm going to read through that file. The second thing I'm going to do is open up an address out file for write, and this is where I'm going to write my appended data to this file here. We're going to loop through each record, so for each row inside the reader, we are going to print that row, and then we're going to write it out. So let's see what happens when I run this through debug. See, it went pretty quick, right? You can see down here, I'm printing it out. These are the rows. I look at my address.out file. It's got the header and it's got the rows. Looks the same. Of course, it will be the same because we haven't really appended any rows to it. So now I need to make calls to the Lightbox geocoder and then append the data to the output. First thing I need to have is my base URL. So I'm pointing to API at lightboxre.com, version 1, our address is endpoint, search, and I'm going to pass in the address that I'm searching. Put that to the API URL, and then I also have my Lightbox key, which I use for authentication purposes. In this case, I'm going to now make the call. So I have my API URL up here. I'm going to append row, it's actually the second column, third column, fourth column, fifth column, which makes up the full address, city, state, zip. And then I'm going to make the call. Let's zoom that out. But notice I need to have my, my Lightbox key. So we'll add that variable there. Now, as I go through this, the very first row is a header. All right. So I'm going to want to find out if I am on the header or not. So I'm going to add an if statement. And I'm going to add an else statement. And I am going to copy and paste this data here. There we go. And then let's go ahead and indent that. And I don't need this anymore. Okay, now on my first time through, I'm going to want to append the additional fields that I want to add to my output. So in this case, I'm going to append X, Y, a precision code, and a score. On the second time through and the rest of the rows, I am now going to append the data. So I'm making the call out to our Lightbox geocoder. I get the response back, and now I'm going to append the data that I'm looking to append. In this case, longitude, latitude, which is my X and Y, precision code, and my score. Now, this response that comes back, it comes back as an array of addresses. Sometimes there's multiple addresses depending on the text that you put in. So I'm going to grab the first one. There's a location object. In the location object, there's a representative point object, longitude, latitude. This location object is actually on multiple endpoints, so it's something that you can count on. Because this is a geocode request, we also have a metadata object, geocode, and we're looking for the precision code and the score. The precision code is going to tell us if the latitude, longitude was derived from a structure centroid, somewhere within the structure, a parcel centroid, a street interpolated, a postal code. So that's a way for you to understand where the latitude and longitude was based on. The score is a score from 0 to 1, and that's a confidence score on how well the input address matches the address that we found. So as that degrades, your confidence goes down. We always say above 80% or 0.80 is a very good match. So the only thing I need to do now is increment my count equals 1. And now we are going to run this. So let's go ahead and run it. Start debugging. As it goes, you can see I'm geocoding the addresses and I'm writing them out. After that's complete, we're going to take a look at address out. As you can see, I have my original record address, city, state, zip. We've added to the header X, Y, precision code, and score. As you can see, the address we're looking at, here's my X, here's my Y, here's my precision code, a 10 equals a building centroid, and here's my confidence score. 98 is very good. If I look at all of these, they all tend to be very high. And that's the process of matching and appending.